viewers, you're with Property Mythbusters. My name is Gilmovich from Real Property Manager.
I'm Debra Beck-Mewing from Crave Property Advisory.
And I'm Ken Hugh from Avvora Finance.
It's great to be back. We've had a bit of a break, but we're back here for you to bust some more myths and contradictions and some of the misinformation that's going out in the property buying and investment landscape. And we're here today on a great topic and timely, and that's unpacking the first home loan deposit scheme. It's a mouthful, Deborah.
Yeah, FHLD scheme.
The FHLD scheme.
Yeah.
Another great name by the government.
Yeah.
It's an increasing number of acronyms, like number of letters in acronyms.
Yeah. So to summarise, this is the new scheme that's designed to help first home buyers actually get into the market. It will commence on the 1st of January 2020. I can't believe we're in 2020. Buyers who...
Great New Year's Eve present or New Year's Day present.
Yes, exactly. You have to be prepared for it though. And so it's really designed for buyers who have pulled together at least 5% of a deposit. The government will guarantee up to 20%. So effectively it helps them save the cost of lender's mortgage insurance, and should technically mean that people can afford to take out a larger loan. But we're here to discuss the myth, whether it's actually going to help them.
So is it going to actually help them? If we read between the lines, and that's what we're here to do, is it actually going to help them, or is there some challenges with this scheme that we can see down the track?
Well, first and foremost, I guess, like from a broker's perspective, a lot of first home buyers do kind of struggle with that initial deposit, so savings of maybe 20,000, 30,000, things like that. And although they may be applying for the first home owners grant, which kind of, if they qualify, gives them concessions on the stamp duty, lender's mortgage insurance usually can cost as much as stamp duty, depending on what the LVR is. So it certainly will help them get into the market, because a lot of their savings isn't going towards the lender's mortgage insurance, which is something that this scheme is covering. But I don't know. I mean, it's limited to 10,000. Support up to 10,000.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting, isn't it? And it's
so how
10,000 max. Well, I'm assuming that's per year.
Per year.
Yeah.
So for the 10,000, I think they will most definitely benefit from something like that, to be able to get into the property market sooner and not have to pay lender's mortgage insurance. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So in an LVR of 95 to 5%. From your point of view as a broker, do you think that they need to be saving up for the loan mortgage insurance? In fact, there has to be a fatter deposit.
Yeah,
money put away for that.
Yeah, definitely. If it's 90, 95, like close to like the absolute limit, a lot of the money goes to can be as much or even more as stamp duty.
So what kind of money are we talking about here? So just say we're targeting Sydney, Melbourne buyers of what, say 700,000?
Yeah, 700,000.
I think that's reasonable. I think it is.
Yep.
And so 5% of that is 35,000.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's spot on.
Yeah, and so normally they would have to save. Well, normally they'd have to save 140,000 to actually get their loan, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it can be a little bit less than
to do the 20%.
Yeah, a little bit less than the 20%.
That's
10 to 12%, I think generally is like the bare minimum, and there's like heaps of costs for lender's mortgage insurance. It's still a substantial amount though.
Yeah, it really is, considering most people, as we were saying before, often forget about including stamp duty. You can borrow money in bed, then you've actually got to...
Yeah, so what other conditions are attached to that? Is there a price point?
No, I guess guess it would be good to run through. Did you want to run through?
Who qualifies?
Yeah.
So the people to qualify, it's commencing January 2020. Supported up to 10,000 eligible first home buyers. Eligible to first home buyers or those that have saved a deposit of at least 5% up to 20%. Their income is for a single if their income is less than 125,000, or if they're combined like a couple less than 200,000.
So you would say the average first home buyer, given that they're going to be relatively young, between 25, say 35, they kind of fit into that category. Income earners probably less around the average income earner.
About
Let's say
80,000?
about 85,000.
I mean, that's really, yeah.
The target entry properties, which doesn't specify, but with a maximum loan size determined on a regional basis, so it doesn't seem like it's specific to property price, more so loan size. There's the guarantee will cease where borrowers refinance and their home loan ends. Be able to use in conjunction with the first home super saver scheme, as well as relevant state territory first home buyer grants and stamp duty concessions.
Yeah, so they've got all the other things on top. So, look, there's probably much more detail in the actual, legislation that's also.
Yeah, we'll definitely at some stage unpack all that, but given time limit at the moment to discuss it, is this really going to help the first home buyer?
What do you think?
Let's look at it from a short to long term.
Short term, I think so, for the 10,000 who's eligible. Long term, I don't know. I mean, you mentioned a couple of concerns, I guess, which was, do they have enough skin in the game? Because when assessing credit, 5 stages of credit, one of them is character and showing their ability to save and how they manage debt and things like that.
Yeah, so that would be quite a large one when considering that criteria, the saving criteria, and how, or is there a pattern of good savings given it's such a small deposit? Do you see any challenges around that?
Yeah, I mean, it's guaranteed by the government, but so one thing that I'm actually quite curious to know, and I'm sure that as we kind of progress closer to the time when it does commence, all the lenders will kind of have to wrap their head around, what that means for them and what the logistics are in the back end, how their credit policy, incorporates this new scheme. But I guess that's a couple of questions that come to mind. Is it going to be across all lenders? Is it going to be specific lenders? Do the lenders opt in for it? Is it, and if so, how does that work? There's a lot of questions, I guess, that I have, being a government. Logistically, what happens?
Like the people that you're helping who are first home buyers, on a day-to-day basis, the people you're meeting, do you think they would benefit from something like this?
Yeah, for those who qualify, yeah.
Yeah, and because it would leverage them earlier.
Yes.
Into, particularly in Sydney with a market that's moving upwards.
Yeah.
Did I just put words into your mouth?
No. I think it just reduces the amount of capital that they need to contribute. So the two major restrictions for getting into the property market from a credit perspective is the borrowing capacity, which we're seeing, positive things come out of that. But the savings that they have to contribute to complete the purchase, because everyone knows that you can't borrow the property price and costs. So there is a certain amount of money that you need to save up to
to have a buffer.
Yeah, to have a buffer and to kind of proceed.
Does everyone really know that? But anyway, yeah.
So in the short term, okay, we've got some help there. We've got a leg into the market. Long term, looking at the numbers based on their equity position, repayments over the years to pay off the actual loan. In the long run, it looks like the numbers are pretty far apart from each other than you would going in at 5% versus going in at 20%.
Yeah.
So in the long run, we can see that on an average loan of 700,000, that over a 30-year period, there's a vast difference in the interest that they're paying And of course the amount of the weekly or monthly repayments as well.
Yeah, but like that's worst case scenario. So we have got. Should we talk about the numbers that we've got in front of us?
Yeah.
So do you want to read those out or in that?
Oh, just briefly, let's touch on this. The total repayments on the $5 deposits with the 5% deposit with the FHLD scheme would be just over $1 million, $1.1 million over the term of the loan.
Total repayments, yeah.
And in the 20% deposits, just under 950,000.
So they'd save about 150.
150,000.
Yeah. Okay. But see, my argument is that if
that's if they hang on for 30 years.
Yeah, but you know, if you pay a little bit more, if you use really good structures, so you're using your offset correctly, if you buy the right property where you actually can build equity by doing a little polish up of the actual property, or building a granny flat or renting out a component of the home so that you can pay things down. It's not saying that everyone's going to take all that time, the full time, to actually pay the property down.
So again, if they're going in for long term, which let's say the way things are going at the moment, with affordability, that may need to hang on for some time because they may not move into the next home very easily given the price projections in the future. So they have to be smart about it, but also sensible in the sense of it's great having this scheme and it's all exciting, but we're talking about an emotional buyer here. This is a first home buyer, and the emotions can get the better of you when actually purchasing. So what in fact is saying is that the bare fundamentals of investing into a property has to be solid if you're going in for the long haul.
Yeah, so you still need to make a really good choice. You need to think of ways to pay that loan down quickly, all of those sorts of...
Buy the right type of property in the right location that down the track, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years or longer.
In mentioned suburb,
that's going to perform. That's actually going to perform to leave you in a better state than when you first started.
Yeah, one thing that I would probably mention, there's two items there. I guess the cost of having a home loan with only 5% deposit versus 20% deposit, there's going to be savings there, of course. But I guess it's contrasting that to opportunity costs as well. So if you don't get into the market sooner in a rising market, you may see yourself having to chase the market up. Of course, if it goes sideways or down, then that's a different story. But the other thing as well, I noticed that with refinancing as well could be interesting. So making sure that you are choosing a property that you're probably keen to stay on, and taking some of the factors and goals of the applicant and the borrower, what they're wanting to do with that property probably makes sense, because if they do refinance and they are above the 80% threshold for lender's mortgage insurance, they might have to pay it again. So to be able to refinance, so then there's questions about do you want to go down the fixed rate or not, etc. So there's a lot of smaller items that kind of come into play. But yeah, I thought I might just point that one out as well, because when you are borrowing as little as possible, and in LMI territory, refinancing can be difficult.
Yeah, and what about your opinions on, will this bring more people into the market and thereby drive the prices up anyway, so they're constantly chasing? I have to tell you what I think, given that...
So will it spur demand?
Yeah, and chase the prices up.
Yeah.
Given that they're only offering it to 10,000...
Maybe that's why they did it?
Yeah,
maybe that's why they capped it?
So, why they capped it at only 10,000 loans, and we haven't defined whether that's
Because I could see where if they were handing it out to any home buyer uncapped, that could potentially spur the market on, because we know that there's demand.
Oh, there really is now.
And supply slowing down.
But I'd like to know how they're going to select which, like, is it going to be first investor stress? Is this going to be like as soon as it ticks over, first 10,000 in, you're good to go, or is it more?
I think first home buyers are really, really savvy. The ones that I see are right across all of their grants and the nuances of all of it, and so they're usually quite prepared and like ready to go.
I would like to see my clients are usually like, hey, I've signed an application form, I need to sort out my finances. I'm like, great. Yeah. Anyhow.
Well, that's because I get my clients like after they've done their finance. But yeah, so...
Well, we'll definitely look into it, dive deeper into what all this means. Yeah, we're just conscious of time.
Yeah.
But we will dive deeper into this loan schemes, things unravel, and have another session around what it all means, and will it bring joy to the first home, to the first home buyers.
Okay, so thanks very much for watching. We'd love your feedback. So please join the Property Mythbusters Facebook group to send us questions or myths you would like busted. You can also contact us directly through our social media channels. So thanks very much. Goodbye.
See you next time.
See you next time.